Welcome to everyone to our new episode of UpClose IW Connect podcast. In this captivating episode, we're gonna talk about integration of different systems, and I'm very delighted to introduce my guest, who is outstanding expert in this field, Vlatko Dimitrievski, a distinguished unit manager with a wealth of experience in the realm of integration. Today, we will talk about what integration really means, exploring the compelling reasons why companies need to weave their systems together, connecting and harmonizing different software applications, databases or technology platforms to work together as a unified and cohesive solution. And before we start the episode, just remember, you need to subscribe to this button, okay? If you want to stay tuned to more engaging discussion, just subscribe. And for the second, if you want to see our creative blogs, posts and videos, just also follow us on every single social media channel we have, okay? Let's go to the episode.
Hello to everyone. This is another episode from our IW Connect podcast, UpClose. Today guest is Vlatko Dimitrievski, practice unit manager for integration.
Hi Peter, thank you for inviting me.
This interview I will start with a basic, simple question. Mm-hmm. Every human being between
Don't ask
60...
me who is Vlatko, please.
Why? But it's a basic one. Like we need just to acknowledge the people who is Vlatko. People between 16 and 70 years when they are old, they already or they're discovering what they want to be in life. Medical, salesperson, sportsman, actor. What Vlatko wished back there to be in life?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I had an inclination for going into the medical field, but then math was a very nice subject and I liked it. So
really, math?
Yeah. So thank God I didn't went into medical school. So I chose engineering. But I've known that I'm more suited for engineering for a while, since I was in my late 5th or 6th grade.
That early age? Ooh,
yep.
Well.
So it was an easy choice. The Bitola Technical School and then the university at
Bitola.
Programming, yeah.
Well, okay. Can you tell me, because in Macedonia, the term integration, it's odd. Like, what is integration? It sounds a bit Greek for people. Like, when I communicate with the people, what kind of practices we have in IW Connect, and when I say we have also integration, and they're like, can you explain what is integration? And I'm like, I need to discuss and like to explain what certain way we do it. So for the people who is watching, can you just basically, what is integration?
Well, it's a shame it didn't gain traction and popularity, but it's a very interesting and challenging field in the realm of IT. Mm-hmm. If we have to explain that in layman's terms, integration would be the process of making sure that disparate systems that use different protocols for communication are able to understand each other and communicate with each other, or maybe the process of making sure that those systems can communicate with each other and the data that are communicating in between is stored to some kind of centralized repository, maybe data warehouse or data vault, depending on the problem at hand. So that's integration in short-term terminology.
Basically, like you're making group of systems, like people making friendships, so they can
like
collaborate.
Making sure that a Greek person can talk to a French one.
Yeah.
If they don't know the language.
Okay. What is difference between development and integration?
Development, as it is, if we're talking about application or web development, is a more focused field. What we do in integration and the demand for technology knowledge in integration is far greater, as more often than none, you have the responsibility of making sure that you can integrate different systems, and those systems are not always systems that are up to date or cutting edge technology. There are systems which are quite old, and you have to know the inner workings of those systems. You have to know the protocols with which they work. And then you have to make sure that you put all of that into a system that in which the data will flow in between. So that's the difference between pure application development and integration. The advantage in integration is the fact that because it's a problem and it's a problem for which the solution is a very valuable one, most of the big players have invested heavily in building integration tools. So we have integration tools that we're using. The common misconception is that people in integration don't do coding. It's a blatant lie.
Really?
Well, you have to, for some problems, you have to use coding. So most of the team is sometimes proficient, or some teams are proficient in Java, some are proficient in Python, some are proficient in C#. So you have that balance in the team so that you can actually solve the problems that are at hand. So there's coding, and then there's architecturing of the solution. It's the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm. So looking from that perspective, can any developer become an integration consultant? Like, do you need to be a good developer, or you just need to know the basics of developing so you can go in integration?
But it's a tricky question.
Well,
of course, we would want the good developers to work and become integration consultants. It's easier to go into the field and be an integration specialist, but because there's such high demand for people in the field and the work is challenging, it's always interesting. We invest in taking developers who are just off their studies, or they're now in the beginning phases of going into the workforce, and we make sure that we help them gain the knowledge and expertise required to start working. And as they're progressing in their career, they're building their background, because they have the chance to work for some of the larger companies in Europe and the States, and to resolve problems and issues that you won't find in basic application development or basic
that's
web
why integration
development.
is so beautiful, yeah? Because, developers usually think integration has nothing to do with programming. And now, as you said, it's quite normal to be a good developer and then to go to integration, or to be the integration consultant, because it's much more easier.
I'd say it's the next step, as if you have gained the domain expertise and you have gained knowledge in various and disparate systems with which you have worked, your normal evolution would be to become an integration.
Really? Yeah.
Developer. Yeah.
That's a quite good explanation. Great. Integration in IT can involve various technologies and systems. Could you share some examples of the types of integration project your team typically handles?
Well, we won't be able to share client names, but we can share the industries and the domains in which the guys are working in. We have telco clients, telecommunication clients, some of the biggest ones in the States, and that's a very interesting problem that they're resolving. So they're making sure that we have integrated each type of system that organization is using. Think payment systems, think the set-top box systems which are installed on your TV, and then the systems which are installed on the pole posts on the street. So it's a challenging and it's a demanding job to do, but at the same time, you're learning a lot, and you're improving your overall position and your and value in the IT market. So those are the problems that are solved, making sure that information flows from each of those systems somewhere. That somewhere is usually defined by the client based on the problem that the client wants to resolve. Now, if we are talking about telco is all about the business metrics and their marketing strategies. So it's usually flowing into a data warehouse or some type of data vault out of which they're producing some type of analytics, either in retrospect or a predictive analytics. But it's something that massively helps in the way which they tailor future strategies regarding the business and regarding their way of operation.
What is the benefit of make an integration in some company? Let's say, like you mentioned telecommunication. Can you tell me? You have the marketing. You know,
cutting costs. Let's be honest. Everyone wants to cut costs.
Yeah. Okay. It's the money.
If you have a well integrated system and if your informations are stored in a centralized repository, you can get valuable insights, and that data can convey usable information that you can use to steer your business in some direction. And also because of the fact that the data itself contains info about how your company operates on day-to-day level, you can leverage that to make sure that you optimize your operations. And optimization usually means cutting costs. Cutting costs. But then again, there's your marketing strategies which you can use. So there's successful examples of that. Once you analyze your data, you can adjust your marketing strategies based on what your clients are currently using. And then if you're in step with the trends today, predictive analytics to predict, and it's usually with high percentage on what your customers would want to get as a service or as a package. So there's a wide array of benefits that you would get from making sure that your enterprise or the systems within your enterprise are duly integrated.
Could you share some integration projects often come with unique challenges?
They do.
Every job.
Yeah,
of course.
But everything comes with unique challenges.
Well, what are some common hurdles your team faces now, and how do you approach overcoming them? Is it hard? Is it do you have used to it? Is every project have the same problems, or you have different in every working day?
No. As I've said, each organization is different.
Yeah.
In the way in which that organization grew, it acquired a set of systems. They're not always the best of systems to deal with, and they pose difficulties and challenges. So each time when you get a client, you get something new. So I wouldn't say that there's or I wouldn't say that we can take one, single that out and say this is the most common issue that we're facing. I'd say the issue that we're facing is variety. Each time when you get a new client, you get a new problem to solve and new types of systems. And the interesting thing is that varies from continent to continent. So for instance, for instance, Europe has its own systems that they use, and different countries within Europe prefer different systems. They protect their market inside, which is
You don't know that.
which is also the case with the US, for instance. US has different types of internal systems, and each time when you get a project, depending on where that project is geographically located, you get different hurdles. But the main hurdle is making sure that because most of the people that are doing the integration, they are front-facing with most of the clients. So it's making sure that you convey in a acceptable and right way the solution that you're offering. The clients are not always receptive on what you are proposing. Some of them have their own.
Let's hold to that. If any consultant for integration is great in technical skills, but you have the soft skills, communicating with the client. Not every client is aware of what they really need to do with the systems. Like you are an integration consultant and you can say, listen, I see what you want, but my proposal is different than your
better,
opinion.
huh?
And it's better, because like, okay, I am experienced integration consultant, and I'm telling you that what you want is not what you need. How commonly you have a problem with a client just to explain yourself a better solution?
Well, I wouldn't say that's a problem. Most of the clients are big clients with good technical teams that work for them. So there's always
A reasonable person in the
people,
team,
in the team that you can talk to and that you can agree on a solution. Of course, there will always be the pressure of management that wants everything delivered yesterday, but it's something that you balance out. So there is a component on having the right attitude and having the right way of communication with the teams from the client, and most of the people that work or that they come on board get training or gradual I'd say release into the wild.
Okay.
They're gradually released into the
wild.
into the wild.
But like commonly, let's be real. The clients, like you're a consultant and I'm coming to you with a problem. And like, I need to build a trust that you're an expert. That's easy when you have a client who is already with you like so many years and that integrity. But when you have a new client, what is the approach? What is the secret? Just to tell them, listen, we are experts. You need to believe us.
Well, they've came to us because they already believe that we are experts. There's a component in building trust, correct? Because you believe that we are experts, and that belief has to be justified. So you got to make sure that first what you're proposing is the actually best solution for them.
for the problem.
Exactly. And you have to stand your ground. If that's actually the best solution for them, and you're certain about it, and you believe that that's the right thing that they should do, you should hold your ground and be crystal clear in communicating that to them. So you cannot make concessions just because the client wants that. In the end, if the client wants that, well, of course, make a concession and say, that's fine, we gave our best advice, and we were still asked to do that. In the end, we will listen to the client. But as I've said, most of the clients and most of the people are reasonable when you share a well-tailored solution that works for them. I haven't had a client that didn't accept it so far, and I'm in the field in the past 10 years now. So I'd say the only way in making sure that you build trust is you show integrity and you keep your word true. You cannot say one thing and then do another.
How quiet you go one step further for what they asking to do about them, just to build an integrity? Is that a common ground? Do you do everything?
Well,
that they
everyone
ask
wants
her?
to feel that they've left the table gaining a little bit more.
Yeah.
So if we're advertising that we have integrity, of course we'll go one step
Further than they ask.
further than they have asked, and we usually do that for most of the clients.
The most interesting theme that everybody is chit-chatting and talking about is artificial intelligence. What is your opinion? Will have any effect on programming or not?
Well, it will open a realm of possibilities for developers that will jump on the wave and make sure that they're in step with the technology. I don't think it's gonna impact developers negatively. There are
Because everybody is scared, you know, when artificial intelligence came up in the first place, there was bombing with information. Okay, now the programmers need to be thinking about their jobs.
well, look at how the Industrial Revolution changed the
yeah.
world. So now imagine how AI will change the world. Inherently, humans are good creatures, so they will make good use of it. But from a technological perspective, it will be very helpful for developers to have at their hand personal assistants that can provide information that they need and they require for their day-to-day activities on request. It will improve the flow of information, and plus, as the industry evolves and as tools that make use of AI come available for the general population, and when I say general population, I think the developers also, they'll be able to be more competitive, and they will be able to provide better solutions to an entirely new set of problems.
Yeah, of course.
We will forget about the current set of problems.
Well, talking about that, how do you use or embrace artificial intelligence in your everyday job, in integration process?
We make sure we stay on track. Everyone should be well informed and well versed, and if not the inner workings of the systems, to make sure that they can use them at least. And we use it usually for generating documentation, the tasks that are daunting and that require people to waste time on writing text. So the tools are great. The models, large language models, are something that is very useful, and if you have the hardware, you can train them to do whatever you want. And let's remember, we're integration, so and your AI is as good as your data. The guys have experience in making sure that they can bring in a lot of data. So it's an exciting new world that is opening for
in front of us these days. Yeah. Talking about systems, data, sources, and everything, because you're integrating systems and you have all the data that one company can provide or can have. Security is the biggest issue? Is a paramount concern when the integrating different systems and data sources. How does your team address security and data privacy issue in your integration projects?
Well, first we make sure that we are well informed about everything that's happening in that field. We make sure that we're well informed on the current research and the current breakthroughs in breaking the algorithms that are currently used for encryption. And with the advent of quantum computing, the generally accepted algorithms as RSA or elliptic curve cryptography are slowly becoming obsolete, as they're not offering the level of protection that the systems and companies will need. Of course, we still utilize them. We still don't have quantum computers available for the ordinary users, but we make it our mission to be well informed of what is being developed and what is the replacement. And now when you take a step back and when you take a look at the work that the people in the team are currently doing, we're strictly following recommended protocols, and the tools that we're using enable the guys to easily implement security protocols and procedures that are making sure that the data stays safe and sound.
You mentioned quantum resistant algorithm. So on a short term, how dangerous is it in the cybersecurity nowadays? And in a short term, what is quantum resistant algorithm?
So to explain this, we need to know a little bit of how quantum computers operate. The usual computers have ones and zeros, bits, right? It can be only one or a zero at a time. The quantum computers make use of bits also. They're called quantum bits, right? Qubits. The interesting thing here is there's a principle of superposition which enables them to be 1 and a 0 at the same time. Now, because of this, they have the ability to process large amounts of possibilities in a very short amount of time, making them perfect for breaking cryptographic algorithms. But that's not news, and the industry is working without stop to generate algorithms that would prevent that. The nice folks at NIST, the National Institute for Science and Technology, have started already in producing such algorithms. There's lattice-based cryptography, there's hash-based cryptography, there's polynomial cryptography, multivariate polynomial cryptography, and each one of these methods rely on complex operations or complex structures. If we take, for instance, the lattice-based cryptography, there's multidimensional complex structures that even quantum computers with the quantum advantages have issues in solving them successfully in a short amount of time. The goal is to make the team well informed of the risks that lurk within the industry, and when you're well informed, you can make the right decisions when deciding on how to embrace and protect your data or the solution.
Okay, from the technical part, but let's see about the soft skills. We already mentioned about it, that you need the communication skills about the clients, but as a manager in the company, you likely oversee a team of diverse professionals. Could you share your approach to building and leading a high performing integration team? What are the challenges? What is your approach to that?
Well, different personalities, different wants and needs. You have to address everything and make sure that people have the environment in which they can express and work their best work possible, while also giving them enough time for personal development. So we usually like to say lead by example. So we try to ask of the people only the things that we're willing to do ourselves. That's one. Second, the team is comparatively large, but when you think about it, it's leading a large team is not different than leading a small one. It's just a question of dividing the numbers. So if we divide the numbers and we have teams that are that complement each other, and we nurture a culture of sharing knowledge and constantly learning, the people feel accepted, they feel safe, and at the same time they're not complacent. They're learning every day, and they're progressing into
it's quite crucial that everyone to be comfortable to make a mistake and learn about it.
Exactly.
Like that's the healthy environment to have in a team. It's quite normal to be a one who is working every day with, as you said, different problem solving and different experience about it, because nowadays everything is fast forward, and it's good to be a leader. Like maybe the position is called manager, but it's also good to be a leader, because you need to be the role model from your team, and just
exactly right. You need to make sure that you're in step technologically with what everyone is doing. So me personally, I try to invest a lot of time in just reading and staying in step with what the people are doing, to make sure that that you can actually help them and lead them into the right direction.
Like, common sense, and everybody's talking about it. If you want to go to become a manager or a leader, or to go upper in the career path, you need to focus only on working and self-development. Do you have any free time for you?
It's all about
time management.
Planning.
Everybody's planning and time management. Yeah?
Time management is a buzzword now, but you need to plan well to make sure that you devote time to yourself. Otherwise, the pace is high. I cannot deny that. But given that you can plan your time accordingly, and you can always rely on the structures that exist within the department, gives you the luxury of having time for yourself. And life is not just about work, right? You have to devote something to yourself.
Successful integration can lead to enhanced operation efficiency. Can you provide an example of a project where your team directly resulted in significant process improvements for a company or some client?
Well, it's mostly visible in the big companies who have a wide array of disparate systems and are processing different types of information. Having well-integrated systems and having a centralized repository in which you can process the data and gain insightful knowledge from it enables you to make the right decisions regarding the market and regarding the strategy with which your organization will evolve. So one example would be companies within the telco industry for which we have worked. When you finish the integration process and when they have their data available, they usually change their market strategy to make sure that they're selling the right products or right packages, since they're a telco company, to the right recipients or subscribers, and that has a direct impact to their revenue. And since you're doing that pulse check for the company and you start noticing inefficiencies, when you take into consideration that the company is wide, they usually are able to cut their operational costs. So you have increased your revenue by market strategy adjustment, and at the same time you have cut costs. It's more than obvious what are the advantages.
Because the old thing said, the most expensive thing is the right information in the right time.
Exactly. So
yeah, and that is providing by integration. Okay, Vlatko, is for the last, looking ahead, what do you envision as the future of integration and in the IT industry, and how do you plan to position your team to leverage upcoming opportunities? Like you said, yes, in the step forward, every company needs to integrate their systems in order to develop or growth.
Every big companies that are small and that can be managed by their employees without expanding the team significantly don't really need that. But if we take a step back and if we talk about how do I envision integration in the future, AI will dominate the future, and we've mentioned that your AI is as good as your data. And since we live in a technocrat society that uses technology every minute of every waking hour in the day, we produce vast quantities of data. That data should go somewhere, and that data should be integrated. So I think integration will be fairly safe in the future. The demand for it will increase as opposed to decrease. What might change is the way we do integration. So the tools will surely evolve. We'll surely start utilizing AI tools heavily. That will shorten and improve the integration process, meaning that solutions can be delivered faster with higher efficiency and higher quality, which will generate another set of problems, as
of course, yeah.
every code improvement generates another set of bugs and issues. So we're fairly safe in that regard, as long as we stay competitive and we stay on the technological edge. And when it comes to the direction of the integration department, we make sure we keep our technological edge as sharp as possible.
Okay. Again, thank you for the interview. Let's just say in a short way, the next step of a senior or the good expert developer is to be
integration consultant. That's the normal evolution path.
So you expand your team, I guess.
We're always open for good developers that are interested in integration and that are willing to learn and adapt to new technologies.
Thank you for all to stay tuned with our podcast. Thank you to everyone who stayed till the end for this episode. I guess now everybody is informed what is integration and what is the next step in
Hopefully,
evolving.
it's not Greek.
Well, yeah. Now we know it's not Greek. So again, stay tuned for more episodes in our podcast and see you. Bye.
Bye.